Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Matthew Rose, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Flight Lieutenant Elise Carey. We warmly welcome the family of Sapper Charles Arthur Finn, whose story will be told shortly. We are also honoured to acknowledge the Honourable Dan Tehan, Minister for Veterans Affairs, the Honourable Tony Abbott, the Honourable Kevin Andrews, and Mr. John Bale, CEO and co-founder of Soldier On, who are also joining us this evening. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL and Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of the ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by family, visitors and students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, the Hunter School of Performing Arts, Broadmeadows, Erskineville Public School, and from South Australia, St John's Grammar School, Bel Air. Ladies and gentlemen, students, I now ask you to please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. Thank you, students. You may now be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to sapper Charles Finn. Charles Arthur Finn was born in 1888 to Dennis and Eliza Finn of Kennewindra, New South Wales. He attended St Joseph's Convent School at Peak Hill. Following his education, he became a blacksmith in Gilgandra. He was tall and red-haired, which automatically earned him the nickname Bluey. In October 1915, Finn joined the Cooey March, the first of a series of snowball marches. These recruitment drives were called snowball marches because it was hoped they would gather recruits as they went, like a snowball rolling down a hill. The Cooey March was the brainchild of Captain Bill Hitchin, under whose command the group of men, including Charles Finn, left Gilgandra on the 300-mile march to enlist in Sydney. Finn successfully enlisted on the 9th of October 1915 and was posted to the 1st Field Company of Australian Engineers. After a period of training in Australia, he was sent to Egypt and from there to England to continue his training. Finn was finally transferred to the 13th Field Company of the Australian Engineers and sent to fight on the Western Front in August 1916. In late November of that year, as the winter drew in, Finn was sent to hospital, suffering from influenza. Further health problems kept him in hospitals or rest camps until late 1917. He finally rejoined his unit in the field through to the Hindenburg Line, a carefully prepared, strong series of trenches. As they went, they hid mines in wells and buildings. In early April 1917, Finn was a member of a section billeted in the French village of Vaux-Vrecourt, where they were locating mines in wells and repairing them. Finn and Lance Corporal John Maxwell Shepherd were taking detonators out of an unexploded mine when an artillery shell landed nearby. It set off the mine, and both men were killed instantaneously. Charles Finn was 29 years old. His name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among more than 60,000 Australians who died during the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember sapper Charles Arthur Finn, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Students, I'll ask you to now stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you a very pleasant evening.